السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So I welcome you all back to our session on the Quran, and we are learning the Quran with the Understand Quran system. We are already in Surah Al-Baqarah, and we have reached the 84th ayat, inshallah. So we will continue from there, inshallah. So, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we are in the course 4, and we are on page A12 of the Masaf, which is the Hafizi Masaf, and we are on the first part of that. So pointer number A, and the verse that you're going to see today, inshallah, is verse number 84. So this is how we have divided the juz into 4 parts, and the first 5 fingers indicate the first 1/4. The second half, the second 1/4, that makes it half, 2 hands, 10 pages. Total there are 20 pages in one juz, and the third one is what we are at now. So this is the first 10 we have finished in the book 3, and we had started the book 4 with page 11, and we are going to go up to 11, 12, 13, 14, which is represented by the right hand when we are looking at the right hand, and the thumb is what we have already completed, pointers A, B, C, D. Today we will be taking page number 12, which is the index finger, and we will see the pointers of this particular page. This is just for memorization, and this technique is used by the Quran Academy for easy memorization and easy visualization of the pages. So the pointers of the 12th page are covenant of the blood. We'll see what that covenant was. Allah Ta'ala had taken a covenant from the Bani Israel. And killing and eviction, belief in parts, and treatment with Musa and Isa alayhi salam. This inshallah we'll be seeing in the subsequent Sundays. So killing of the covenant of the blood, and killing and expulsion, believing in parts, and treatment with Musa and Isa. This is the pointers. And in short, if you see, just to remember the points: covenant of blood, the killing, parts, believing in the parts as such, Musa and Isa alayhi salam. So these are the 12th page is divided into 4 parts. The first pointer is covenant of the blood. Linking it with the previous ayat, Allah continues describing the distorted faith and bad actions of the Bani Israel. And in the last part, we had similar ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with is akhazna mithaka bani Israel la ta'budun illallah wa bil walidain ihsanan wa dhil qurba wal yatama wal masakin wa qulu lin nas husna wa aqimus salata wa atu zakata summa tawallaytum illa qalilan minkum wa antum mu'ridun. That was the first part of the misak that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had taken. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is talking to the Jews of Medina. And now the tone changes to the second person. Inshallah, we'll see that as we go to the ayat. So Allah Ta'ala took the covenant from the Bani Israel that they would not kill people and not expel them from their homes. Allah has given special importance to human rights. Allah wants to see the believers as one body. Hurting each other is like hurting yourself. And that will see the kind of words Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used here. In this, we just have 2 new words, and one of them is already gone before. So just actually one new word. So we're doing it word for word and phrase for phrase translation for easy memorization. So with that, inshallah, we start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم لا تسفقون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون. We have only one ayat, so we can focus more on the recitation part also. So the pronunciation would be وَإِذْ, would have some amount of hum. So وَإِذْ, kha is a little mukhaffam, so with a full mouth. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ مِيثَاقَكُمْ, qa and qaf and kaf should be differentiated well. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَس, the scene has to have a little bit of hissing sound. لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم. أنفسكم has a ikfa, so that's why 2 counts. أنفسكم من دياركم. Mim has a shadda, so it will have a gunna also. من دياركم ثم أقررتم. Qaf has a sukun, so this will be kalkala here. ثم, mim has a shadda, so gunna. ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون. Meaning wise, it's simple. وَإِذْ, and when, and إِذْ is the past tense. أَخَذْنَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about himself. أَخَذْنَا, we took. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا, and when we took. مِيثَاقَكُمْ, we already seen last time the root words of mithaq, and mithaq is your covenant, the promise, the ahad that was taken. As we saw, Allah Ta'ala in the last ayat had begun with إِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ Bani Israel, and now Allah Ta'ala here is talking to them in the second person. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ, we took a covenant from you. So here again, since the tone is changing, this applies to us also. So إِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ, what is the covenant that Allah has taken? لَا تَسْفِكُونَ, la, no, tasfikuna. Safaka is to shed blood, root word is seen, fa and kaf. La tasfikuna dima'akum. Dam is the blood. Dima is the plural of blood. Dima'akum, your blood. So here again, Allah Ta'ala is talking to us in the second person. So, إِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ. So here Allah Ta'ala is saying, you will not shed your blood. Right? It doesn't mean nobody sheds his own blood. Allah Ta'ala is talking to the people as a people, and Allah Ta'ala considers them as one. So here the la tasfikuna dima'akum would mean that don't shed blood amongst yourselves, which also means that if you are killing your brother and shedding blood of your brother, it is as if you are shedding your own blood, and nobody would shed their own blood. And this is the tone that Allah Ta'ala is using, that don't shed your own blood, trying to show that Allah Ta'ala has created you from each other, and that is why don't fight and don't create animosity amongst each other by shedding blood. So وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَلَا تُخْرِجُونَ, and do not evict. Right. So what are the root words of this? La tukhrijuna. This is simple. Root words of this.
Kharajim, kharaja.
Kharaja. Kharaja means?
To expel.
No.
To remove.
No.
To remove.
Kharaja means not to expel.
Nikalna, nikalna.
Kharaja.
Kharaja means what?
Kharaja yakhruju. Ukhrij.
Kharaja means nikla.
Nikla. Set forth.
Kharaja means nikla. but now it has come on the fourth form, akhraja.
निकाले गए.
Akhraja means nikala. So this is how the change happens when the form changes. This is what I want you to realize. So kharaja, wo nikla, he went. Akhraja, he removed. Usne nikala. Okay. So just the form change changes the meaning completely. It makes the opposite meaning. One is he's going out himself, and akhraja means he's removing somebody, right? So here Allah Ta'ala has taken a covenant that you will not shed your own blood, wala tukhrijuna, and you will not remove, evict or remove, anfusakum, yourselves. Who's going to remove himself from his own house? Nobody. But you hear what it means is that among your own people, don't do such things which will cause bloodshed, one, and don't do such things which will remove people from their own homes. So this is these are the few basic human rights that were there. Now we have homes which are separate, but you can imagine the kind of hujra that the Prophet ﷺ had, and also the kind of dwellings which the Bani Israel had when they were in 40 years of exile. So they didn't have huge houses with them and all that. They were on the move. Or even when they were settled, they might be having houses. But there Allah is saying that don't shed your own blood. That means don't kill people amongst yourselves, because the animosity or the hasad that is there in the hearts, and shaitan fuels this kind of hasad, because of which people envy each other, and because of that envy, maybe there could be a killing involved. So Allah Ta'ala had taken a misak and a promise from the people, and this promise would apply to us also, because here Allah Ta'ala is talking to mithaqakum. So every reader of the Quran is a second person who is accepting this kind of a covenant. وَلَا تُخْرِجُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ, and do not remove or do not evict yourselves, أنفسكم, yourselves, min diyarikum, from your homes, right? So it is the normally people in society stay in homes, and Allah Ta'ala is seeing the whole society as a unit, and that is why Allah Ta'ala is saying, don't do this amongst yourselves, right? We would think that this is my house and that is his house and things like that, but Allah Ta'ala is watching it like a society and as a single people, and that is why Allah Ta'ala is using these kind of words, that don't shed your blood and don't evict yourselves from your houses. Okay, so it actually means within our group or within our society, we are not supposed to do such a kind of a thing. Then Allah Ta'ala is telling how it was confirmed. Then you ratified. Ratified means then you confirmed this fact that you have taken this covenant. So what is the root word of aqrartum? Aqrartum, root word?
Qaf re re.
Qaf re re. So what is the meaning of that in the basic form? Qa, ra and ra. Qaf, ra and ra. What is the meaning of qa, ra, ra in the and what
Ikrar
form?
se karar. Ikrar.
Ikrar. So ikrar is, this is which form? This is which form?
Aslama. Aslama.
Very good. So this is aslama form. So that is what is, this is form number 4, aslama. So the karara, what is the meaning of karara? The form karara. Kaf, ra and ra. Karara. Yeah. With this you have karar, settle, be at peace. Okay. So akrara is when you are confirming it, when you are settling that agreement, it is like something like that. So you are ratified, it means you have confirmed that you have taken this kind of a covenant, and Allah Ta'ala is not stopping there, and Allah Ta'ala is saying وَأَنْتُمْ تَشْهَدُونَ, and you were a witness also. So it was such a huge, because Allah Ta'ala had lifted up the mountain and then taken some covenants from the Bani Israel, and Allah Ta'ala is informing them that you had ratified, you had agreed to this. Ikrar kiya tha. The simple Urdu word ikrar also hold here. Ikrar is the verbal noun of akrar. Akrara, yukriru, akrir, and ikrar, like Islam, ikrar. Ikrar that is used in Urdu is the similar thing and in similar meaning. So ثم أقررتم وأنتم kuntum tashhadun. Then you ratified and you were tashhadun. You were witnessing. So this vow here, you can see this vow is translated as while. Okay. This vow is translated as while. So this vow is called Vawe Halia. Vawe Halia means the vow of condition. It is telling us that in such a situation that you were witnessers, while you were witnessing. Here we have not translated as and you were witnesses. It also means the same, even if you put and as the meaning. But while is put here because this vow in Arabic terminology will go as a Vawe Halia, means this vow of condition. It is telling us the condition. What was the condition? That they were tashhadun, that they were witnesses to this covenant that was taken. Okay. So Dr. Abdul Rahman Sahab, आप करेंगे आप?
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू.
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम वइज़ अख़ज़ना मीसाक़कुम ला तस्फ़िकून दिमाअकुम वला तुख़रिजून अनफुसकुम मिन दियारिकुम सुम्मा अक़ररतुम व अंतुम तशहदून. Wise and when akhazna we took misakakum your covenant la tasfikuna and you will not shed dimaakum your blood wala tukhrijuna and you will not evict anfusakum yourself min diyarikum from your homes summa then akrartum you ratified wa antum while you tashhadun you were witnessing.
Okay, mashallah. Sometimes the English makes a little confusing, and we are not using so much this ratified and all that. So it becomes easier to understand ikrar. So then you agreed to it or ikrar kiya aap logon ne. So that way. So Allah took a covenant from the Bani Israel that they would not kill people nor expel them from their homes. Look at the importance Allah has given to human rights of every person, especially the right to live and to have property. And he says that we took the covenant, you ratified it, and you were witnesses to it. And this was not taken in your absence. And we see today also in a lot of our lands, we see that people are being evicted from their houses, people are becoming refugees and they have to go out somewhere else and live somewhere else. So here again, we see that thing happening even today, to this day. There are a lot of areas in the world today where there are so many people who are been removed from their houses and they have to live somewhere in a pitiable situation. So just imagine the covenant that Allah had taken from the Bani Israel for this reason, and how that covenant applies to us. And in spite of that covenant being applied to us, the world we see today, so many areas of the world are affected in a way that people of those areas have become refugees. They have to stay in some other land. They have to stay in some subnormal and substandard situations because they are not in their homes, right? We've seen the example of Syria. We have seen the example of Libya when it was there, and so many in the past 10 years. If you just look through the history, we'll find a lot of examples of the same thing. And just imagine how important this thing is to Allah, that Allah Ta'ala has taken a covenant for that, and saying that you have ratified it and you are witnesses to it, and in spite of that you did this. So to this day we are seeing the same thing, the same sins that Allah Ta'ala has enumerated and asked people not to do it. We see the same sins happening even today. So your blood, that is the blood of some of you, hurting each other is like hurting yourself. And we know that the last khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ was also focused on this, that don't kill yourself and be good to each other and have your give your trusts back, amana. The last sermon of the Prophet ﷺ is a very emotional one, and we should remind ourselves of it and we should read it again and again, inshallah. So don't evict yourselves. That is, some of you should not evict others. When a person is evicted from his home, he feels humiliated in his place. He will be a stranger wherever he goes. He may go through extreme suffering because of his eviction. It is a reminder for us Muslims too. So as I said, that we have so many refugees in the world today, and if you see, most of them will be Muslims. Numan will go to the hadith for the day. Numan bin Bashir reported Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as saying, the similitude of believers in regards to mutual love, affection, and fellow feeling. So this is what we are reminded with the ayat that we took and with the things that I said. Allah Ta'ala's messenger is telling us that the similitude of believers in regard to their mutual love and affection and fellow feeling is that of one body. When any limb of it aches, the whole body aches because of sleeplessness and fever. So Allah Ta'ala is, or the Prophet ﷺ here is telling us about how our ummah is. Our ummah is like a one body. But unfortunately, we see how we have got cracks in our ummah today. We have to somewhere try to make efforts to fill these cracks with the love, affection, and fellow feeling that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in our hearts for our brethren and for our ummah. So we should cut out ourselves. We see that the most fights that are being taken and because of which people become homeless are happening in Muslim lands, right? So maybe, as I said, for the last 10 years, we are seeing the conflicts in the Middle East and Muslims are killing each other. So Allah Ta'ala has taken a covenant regarding this, and we have to see how we are seeing actually how this covenant is directly broken by our own people. We have to see what we can do to at least educate them of what Allah Ta'ala wants from us. And maybe that way, if this reaches a lot of people, they would realize what kind of mistakes are being done by our own people, right? So this is how the Prophet ﷺ compared the believers and the believers as an ummah, as a one body, such that if one limb aches, the whole body aches, which means that if any Muslim is suffering anywhere in the world, we should get the pain of that suffering, that such and such people are suffering, and at least we should make dua. If we are not able to go there, we make dua for betterment of their condition and to make ease for these affected people, and that is the least I think that we can do. Okay, so the whole sentence will be, and when we took your covenant, do not shed your blood, that is each other's blood, or evict yourself, that is kill one another, then you ratified while you were witnessing. So Allah Ta'ala took the covenant that they would not kill and expel them from the homes. Allah gave special importance to human rights. We also have to see that how we give importance to human rights. Allah wants to see the believers as one body. Hurting each other is like hurting yourself, and that's why Allah Ta'ala used the word tasfikuna dima'akum and not dima'ahum. Okay. So with this, protect us from breaking the covenants that we have taken. First of all, we have to realize what covenants we have taken. We are living our lives without even knowing what covenant we have taken with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So last time I reminded you of one more of what Allah Ta'ala has taken direct covenant from us. So, and this also applies to us, because here again Allah Ta'ala is saying dima'akum, your blood. Okay. And inshallah, I will have the utmost regard for human lives and their property. So with this, we come to the nouns and the verbs in today's ayat. Mithaq has gone before. So mithaq, and the plural of mithaq is mawathiq. Mithaq, mawathiq. Again, it's a broken plural. Damun, and the plural of that is dima. Damun and dima, blood and bloods. In English, we don't have a plural for blood. It is just blood. But in Arabic, we have plural of blood, and that is dima. It indicates blood shed, or indicates too many people being killed, or too much blood of many people being slain. Nafsun is an individual, and anfus is the plural. Okay. Dar is home, and the plural of dar is diyar. Dar is a home, and the plural of dar is diyar. So mithaq, mawathiq, dam, dima, nafsun, anfusun, and darun, diyarun. So these are plurals. So as we know that nouns, each of them will have specific kind of plurals, and if they are specific, we should learn them. Otherwise, the simple rule is to add waw noon, but that is a sound plural. These are all broken plurals. Okay. So safaka is bab daraba, and that's why safaka yasfiku. Sin fa kaf, safaka yasfiku, to shed blood. Safaka yasfiku, isfik, shed. Safik, the one who is shedding. Masfuk, the one whose blood is shed. And safkun is the process of shedding blood. Right? So this is bab daraba. So safaka yasfiku. There is fatha in the ain kalima in past tense and kasra in the present tense. Safaka yasfiku bab daraba. Shahida word we have seen before. Shin, ha, and dal. Shahida yashhadu. So bab sami'a yasma'u. Shahida yashhadu. Ishhad. Shahid, the one who is witnesser. Mashhud, the thing that is witnessed. And shahada, the witness, the process of taking witness. So that is active participle, passive participle, and the verbal noun shahada. Then we have the hamzated verbs with the hamza, akhadha. So the difference there is only in the order khud. Otherwise it is same. Akhadha ya'khudhu on bab nasara yansuru. Akhadha ya'khuzu khudh. Akhidh, the one who taker. Ma'khuz, the thing that is taken. And akhzun is the process of taking. This is on bab nasara. Right? So we saw bab daraba in safaqa yasfiku, bab sami'a in shahida yashhadu, and bab akhaza in bab nasara in akhaza ya'khuzu with a dhamma. With that we come to the mazid fi verbs. We saw the kharaja means he went, and akhraja means he removed. So once it is coming on the fourth form, the action is on somebody else. Okay. So when the action is done on self, it is kharaja. When action is done on somebody else, it is akhraja, right? So this is how, as I said, ek nikla or nikala. Okay. So that way, went and removed. Action is on somebody else. So akhraja yukhriju, akhrij. On aslama, akhraja yukhriju, akhrij, mukhrijun, mukhrajun, and ikhrajun. Right? So mukhrij is the one who is removing, and mukhraj is the place from where it is being removed, and ikhraj is to go out, to get removed. Ikhraj. And from this word has come the taxes that are removed from the people, ikhraj. So there is a use how much ikhraj, how much has to be removed. Okay. Then we have the word karrara. On the pattern aslama, it becomes aqarrara, aqarrara, yuqirru, aqarra, yuqirru, aqrir, aqarra, yuqirru, aqrir, mukirrun, mukarrun, and iqrarun. Iqrarun. Iqrar, we have a qalqala. Okay. So root words are qaf, rara, qarrara. On aslama, it becomes aqarra because of the ra. Aqarra, yuqirru, akir. Mukirrun, muqarrun, iqrarun. Right? We have 10 minutes before this meeting gets over, and in fact we have done with this. So any questions for this part? We have 10 minutes. We can take questions for this part now itself, and before we start the grammar session.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Dar is translated as home,
Yes.
and Bait is also translated as home. So is there any difference between the two meanings?
Dar is sort of a bigger kind of a home. Bait means could be just a small one also. But I'm not very clear on the difference. If I'll just check that and then maybe let you know. I'm not very sure on if there is a difference, but normally it would just mean a home. But sometimes there are, as I said, there are different shades of the meaning. So in fact, inshallah, I'll just look that up and I'll get back. If there is any difference, most likely it is the same only. But if there is some difference, I'll just check on that, and then inshallah I'll put it in the group. All right.
Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions?
ला तस्फिकुना लिखा है ना, उसमें वो कैपिटल नहीं होना चाहिए ना, यू वाई, उधर वाई लिखा है.
ये ना, ये वाला वाई
should be small, no?
ये ला तस्फिकुना ये बोल रहे हैं आप, ये वाला या
या
ये ना, ये एक्चुअली कैसे है कि ये यहाँ पे इन्होंने इन्वर्टेड कॉमास डाल दिया ना, सो उसके
क्लोज
हिसाब
नहीं
से
किया हो,
हाँ
वो
इन्वर्टेड
misprint है।
नहीं, इन लोग ने मतलब ट्रांसलेशन में इन्वर्टेड कॉमा डाला, इसलिए वो बाय कैपिटल हुआ है, but it is an order which is given by Allah Ta'ala, so you are right, it should be a small u, it is not a u for Allah Ta'ala, it is a normal u, because the inverted comma में ना, so यहाँ से sentence start हो रहा है, उसके हिसाब से y capital आया है।
Inverted comma is not there actually, वो misprint है because it is not closed.
ये close यहाँ किया है ना, from your homes, यहाँ पे,
अच्छा हाँ, अच्छा ओके ओके हाँ,
तो ये
पर वो स्मॉल ही होना चाहिए।
हाँ, क्योंकि एक एक
Maybe
वर्ड ले रहे हैं ना, एक एक वर्ड ले रहे हैं ना यहाँ पे, इसके लिए, तो ये
Correct,
इन्वर्टेड
correct.
कॉमा में बता रहे हैं कि क्या कोवेनेंट लिया था, तो यहाँ पे
सफा
कोवेनेंट,
का,
हाँ
सफा का वो ब्लड के लिए होता है क्या, टू शेड टीयर्स भी वही होगा?
और नहीं, ब्लड के लिए ही होता है ये नॉर्मली ब्लड के लिए ही होता है।
हम्म, लेकिन सबके लिए इक्वली कर सकते हैं ना दिस लॉ, नॉट
हाँ,
ओनली
ये
फॉर मुस्लिम्स, इट इज
नहीं,
कैन बी जनरलाइज्ड टू ऑल कम्युनिटीज।
yes, this is generalized for all communities, and
Nobody should be harassed or given.
yes, unless you are at war with somebody, that's a different situation, but otherwise तो सबके साथ अच्छा रहने के लिए, जो आपके साथ इसमें नहीं है उसके साथ अच्छा ही रहना है, तो ये this applies to everybody, you're right, this applies to all communities, that they should not be अलग अलग यहाँ पे एक्चुअली बता रहे हैं कि ये जो अल्लाह ताला के लॉज हैं, काफी सारे कॉमन लॉज हैं which are applicable to all of us and all of them also. So the one point of them is reminding the Jews at that time that they cannot do such a thing, and before that also they have done such things. So ये जो the point of taking this point here is that Allah Ta'ala is trying to remind them that this is the kind of promise that we had taken, and you had ratified it also, and people among you were witnesses to it also. In spite of that, you have done such a thing. So this applies to everybody actually.
DR ऐसा ये हो सकता है, locality, those who are settled in a particular place.
लोकेलिटी के लिए दूसरे वर्ड्स
Yeah.
हैं, मिंतका है, अलग अलग वर्ड्स हैं, लोकेलिटी रीजन के लिए अलग अलग वर्ड्स हैं।
नहीं, एक
हाँ, ये
आदमी सेटल हो गया ना, सेटल्ड इन अ
हाँ।
पर्टिकुलर, से वी आर इंडियंस, वी कैन सेटल इन एवरी इन इंडिया, इंडिया से
हाँ।
समझो शिफ्ट, नोबडी
हाँ।
शुड बी रिमूव फ्रॉम इंडिया ऐसा।
हम्म।
और बैत तो एक पर्टिकुलर आदमी का ही होता है, ये एक ही इज अ नेशनल ऑफ सम कंट्री।
हाँ, नेशंस का तो तस्वीर बाद में आया है ना, आपसे के टाइम नेशंस नहीं थे, द वर्ल्ड वाज अ सिंगल प्लेस काइंड ऑफ,
वो दियार वैसा ही रहेगा।
हाँ मतलब हो सकता है
ब्रॉड टर्म्स, ब्रॉडर टर्म्स
पॉसिबल। ठीक है, what we can do is we can conclude this meeting and then we'll start the grammar in the next meeting inshallah.